Hey guys, it's Timmy, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited. As we are here on what's today, the 6th of January, 2020, to talk about everything that went down tonight on Monday Night Raw. You know, looking at tonight's show, I thought the show was okay. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't as... What I'm trying to say is, I thought the show tonight was alright. I thought it could have been better, but it wasn't as bad as it has been over the last month or so, maybe. Was some boring things. There was some times where I'm like, man, I'm going to fall asleep watching this, like the Lana Lashley stuff. That was just some of the worst they've done so far with that segment. Oh, let me adjust my camera here. But overall, I thought the show was okay. We got a couple shockers, a couple surprises, but nothing that was like blow away. But let's see who's here with us in the live chat. We do have Henry McKenna Cavallo, John Elite 45, Kristen McNutt, Derek Bocek, Time to Wrestle with Suplexus. Still don't understand what that means. Suplexus? I don't get it. We got Glenn Hunt. We've got Jeff Guevara. And so many more of you. As far as tonight's Monday Night Raw goes, they didn't even hold anything off. Everything that was announced, first three things that took place on this show. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman open up the show. There's a video package recap of last week's wedding. Then the announcers ran down tonight's announced matches and stuff when Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman came out. Lesnar and Heyman came out to start the show. Very heavily booed. More than normal, it seemed like, at least to me. And Heyman responded to the boos. He said, "Happy New Year's to you too, bitches." And Heyman wanted to kick the new year off by making history, which he didn't. Well, I'll elaborate. He did and didn't. Because he said what Lesnar wants to do has never been done, which I'll get to it. So, Heyman said that Lesnar wants to know if there was anybody who can challenge him at the Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship. If there's anybody worthy. Heyman asked him earlier who he thought was the one that was worthy. Was there anybody at all? But Lesnar told him nobody on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT were worthy. Heyman told the crowd not to boo that. Then they cut to the audience and some guy was staring at his watch. Really weird. Also, there was a guy in the audience that had a replica, I guess, NXT belt, but it was on a white strap, and that looked so pretty. I want to know where he got that. An NXT championship on a white strap, because that looked very, 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 very pretty. You only saw it for a split second, but it looked good. Anyways, I digress. Heyman then noted that all the things Lesnar was told he couldn't do, like beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, he did it anyways. Their announcement was, though, that Lesnar, as WWE Champion, will be entering himself into the Royal Rumble. But with entering the Royal Rumble, he'll be entering first, number 1. He will be going in and starting off the Royal Rumble. Paul Heyman would go on to state that nobody can cross his path. If anybody does, he'll just get eliminated like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Anyone who gets in the ring will have to face the Beast. He'll enter first, and he'll be the last one standing. Heyman said that this is not a prediction, it's a spoiler. And here's the thing. Heyman said they're making history with Lesnar entering himself in the Rumble as a champ and entering himself in the Rumble as the champ and also entering in number 1. Well, that's not history, per se. Because Roman Reigns in 2016, as the WWE Champion, was forced to be in the Royal Rumble. as he was forced to be in the Royal Rumble, he was also forced to start the Royal Rumble. Now here's where it's history. When Roman was in the Rumble as the champion, he was forced to do so. He didn't do so on his own accord. Lesnar is making that decision himself. Lesnar is the one that says, I want to go in the Rumble. I want to start number one, blah, blah, blah. So that's where you can kind of say it's history, because he's the one doing it. He's the one putting himself in the match. He's not being forced to do so. So, I don't know. I didn't like them saying it was history when it's been done before. I mean, Ric Flair won the damn WWE title in the Royal Rumble. The first couple of Rumbles weren't even a shot at WrestleMania. It's like this has been done before. So, we'll see how it all does play out. But Brock Lesnar will be in the Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar will start first in the Royal Rumble. And it's cool. Fun. I do want to say, if you guys do want to let me know what you thought of tonight's Monday Night Raw, you can do so by texting in. Text into 510-906-1341. Again, text into 510-906-1341. We will not be taking calls, but we will be taking your text messages. And for some reason, text messages are not wanting to show. Give me 2 seconds to fix this, guys. Okay, got it. All right, so next up, we get the U.S. title match. Like, they didn't even wait for, because they thought what they had at the end of the show was big enough. And it's like, I don't know about that one. It was a okay, I guess you can say, reveal at the end of the show. So we got the U.S. title match, but first, in the back, Rey Mysterio cut a promo in Spanish. Mysterio said while facing the camera, he said, because his career, with his career, the days are there's only days remaining. He doesn't know if he's got years. He thanks his son Dominic for believing in him and telling him that he does have more time left to do what he loves to do. He then said that Andrade didn't deserve to represent the Latinos, and he would get his U.S. title back tonight. So these two work great together. Really great together. And before we go, I do have a couple super chats I want to read. This first one is from Luke Might. He says, what do you think will be the plan for the U.S. Championship at WrestleMania? I'll talk about that. I'm not sure Mania, but I do have an assumption on where this is going, and it could be Mania. Kristen McNutt says, why was Matt Hardy moved to SmackDown? I didn't know that. Let's do some investigating really fast. www.com/superstars. Now, you got to remember, Matt Hardy was never drafted. Matt Hardy did appear on Monday Night Raw, I want to say twice, since the draft occurred. But remember, Matt was never officially drafted to Monday Night Raw. So him being, if true, which I'm looking at it right now, if he was moved to SmackDown or whatever, not that big of a deal. Nothing to fuss about. Because, again, he was never drafted to Raw in the first place. He just showed up on Raw twice. Henry Cavallo says, Lawler called Zelina Molina during this match. I didn't notice that. Huh. All right, we're getting there. WWE, Matt Hardy, Matt Riddle, Matt Hardy. Let's see. And so, yeah, Matt Hardy has been moved to SmackDown. I don't know why. Hopefully they got a plan for him. Matt Hardy can leave in less than 2 months. And he's under the assumption that they don't have anything for him. So there's no real reason for him to stay. So we'll see where it all goes. Maybe they got a plan for Matt Hardy on SmackDown. Maybe he challenges for the IC title or something. They got to do something to keep him from leaving, because we know he's got options if he does leave. Okay, sorry, I was reading a comment in the chat that kind of confused me. But U.S. title match. So there was an early spot where Mysterio launched Andrade face first into the steel steps, which looked and sounded great. And Vega sold it huge, like Andrade could have been hurt here. They replayed it a few times just to upsell the spot. After commercial break, Mysterio hit a tilt-a-whirl DDT for a near fall. Mysterio dodged a double foot stomp and tried a sunset flip powerbomb on the outside. Andrade rolled through it, though, and hit double knees on the floor. Andrade tried a triple vertical suplex, but Mysterio countered into a small package for a 2. Excuse me. Andrade then escaped a 619 attempt and hit a back elbow for a 2. Mysterio hit a Canadian Destroyer and got 3. But it wasn't the 3 that ended the match. As Mysterio was going for the pin, the referee was on the other side of Mysterio and Andrade. And Mysterio the ref counts 1, ref counts 2. Zelina throws Andrade's foot up on the rope, ref counts 3. So Mysterio jumps up like he had just won. And the referee notices his foot's on the rope. Now here's where I have an issue with this. Now, here's the issue I have with this. It's that, okay, the referee saw the foot on the ropes after the pin. I get the referee can reverse his decision, but why? You have to think that the referee did not see the foot go up there before the 3. So the ref counts the 3. If it went up there before, oh well. Because how does the ref know that he didn't count 3 and then the foot get thrown up there? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just saying. That's my assumption is, how does the referee know that he put his foot up there before the 3 was counted and not after? What if it was after? Then Ray would be completely screwed. I mean, Ray was screwed anyways, but I digress. The referee restarts the match. They showed replays of Andrade kind of moving his foot and then Zelina popping it up there. She really barely did anything. But after a commercial break, the match was back underway. Mysterio was back in control. He sent Andrade into the barricade and hit a code red for a 2. On the apron, Mysterio did a sunset flip, sending Andrade into the post. The crowd chanted, "This is awesome," and Mysterio followed it up with a springboard leg drop for a near fall. Mysterio tried a wheelbarrow bulldog, but Andrade just planted him for a 2. Mysterio dodged a double knee strike and hit a 619. Mysterio went to the top, but Andrade rolled outside. Mysterio leaped on top of Andrade, then hesitated when he saw Vega. Andrade then threw Mysterio over his head behind him, and Mysterio crashed into Vega, sending her to the floor below. A concerned Mysterio checked on Zelina Vega. Andrade, not caring, launched Ray into the barricade. Andrade then tossed him back into the ring, set him up for the hammerlock DDT, but the referee stopped Andrade for some odd reason. Mysterio sold it like he may have been knocked out as the ref checked on him. Mysterio rolled outside to go check on Vega as the referee ran down to attend her. It's very weird sequence here. I didn't like it really. As Mysterio re-entered the ring, Andrade caught him, gave him the DDT, and just pinned him. Like, why'd the ref have to kind of stop him? I didn't like the finish. It was too convoluted. It's like they tried to do too much, if that makes sense. So after the match, Andrade ripped off Mysterio's mask and walked off with Vega. Referees placed a towel over Ray's head, and we went to the back. So Luke might ask, where do you think this is going for the U.S. title at WrestleMania? And I don't know if this is going to be at WrestleMania or before, but I think hair versus mask. Andrade has been growing his hair out to do a hair versus mask match with Ray. The plan was for them to do this match last year at WrestleMania, hair versus mask, and then Ray got hurt. So we'll see where it goes. Charlie Caruso in the back interviewed Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. Owens said Rollins was right. Owens doesn't play well with others, and Joe doesn't even try to play with anybody ever. Owens said that they needed to watch each other's backs against Rollins in the AOP. Joe asked Charlie to propose a challenge for them and against Rollins in the AOP. Joe wanted the 3 of them against the 3 of them. And Owens kind of goes, you mean just us? And Joe goes, I got somebody. There's a third. Don't worry. It's all good. I got a guy. And I saw all the people online trying to speculate, and nobody said Big Show. At least not that I saw. So as we move forward, after commercial break, Charlie Caruso found Rollins and AOP backstage. Rollins told Charlie that they live for the challenge, and he wanted to take Raw to the next level. He said the fans made him the chosen one, and he sacrificed everything to become the Messiah. Now he's the Monday Night Messiah. He said he was skeptical that Owens and Joe actually had a partner, and said the AOP would take care of anybody who stood up to them. They then told us The Miz will be on WWE Backstage tomorrow and will most likely discuss the return of John Morrison. The Street Profits then came out to cut a promo in the ring as we move on to the third announced match for this show, and it's another title match. Like, you couldn't have spread out your title matches? The Street Profits said that everyone was talking about the Golden Globes, or about what would be Kevin and Joe's partner. But they were here to change the conversation. They weren't impressed with the OC's hand sign and told the Viking Raiders that they planned on pilgrimaging and they want the smoke. And King on commentary goes, what is this smoke that they want? That was funny because I feel the same way, King. I'm not as old as you, but I feel like an old guy when I'm like, I don't get this reference. We want the smoke? I don't get it at all. So AJ Styles came out onto the stage with Gallows and Anderson, but didn't come down to the ring. He stayed in the back. Early on, Eric ran wild, and the Viking Raiders almost had it won very quickly after a Viking experience on Montez Ford, but the OC barely broke up the pin. Ivar then took out Angelo Dawkins and Anderson with a dive, and then Gallows tossed Eric over the barricade. The OC were in control as we went to a break. The crowd was chanting, "Oh, we want the smoke," as the show faded to commercial. After commercial break, we saw Ivar get a tag and ran wild on the OC, but missed a charge on Anderson. Dawkins tagged in and suplexed Ivar. He gave Eric a spine buster, and then Ford hit a frog splash. Anderson had the blind tag and tried to steal the pin from Ivar, but it was broken up. Ford hit a front flip on Gallows, but also took out Dawkins in the process. Eric gave Anderson a powerbomb, and Ivar followed with a diving splash for the pinfall victory. Viking Raiders retain the titles. Fun little match. For what it was, I think all 6 guys worked well together. Everybody got their spots in, everybody got their stuff in, and it was there. Again, like I said, I didn't think this show was that great. I didn't think it was as bad as it's been. It was just a show that had some moments, I guess you can say. So going forward, backstage, Charlie Caruso asked Joe, "Who's your partner?" Owens also wanted to know. And so he said he's done a lot of bad things and to a lot of people here, and just wanted to be prepared. Kevin Owens, that is. So Joe said, "I'll show you." And Charlie Caruso followed them as they walked around backstage. After the break, Joe led Owens to a door and said, "He's in there. Take a look." Owens peeked in. The lights were off, which was very odd. And Owens peeks his head, comes back out of the room, and he's like, okay. So Owens was pleased with who we now know was the Big Show. Charlie Caruso said, "Well, who is it?" And Joe told her that good things come to those who wait. So Becky Lynch came down to the ring. Lynch said that she's been walking around for months, wondering what kind of champion she really is. She let the doubters get to her, and she forced the powers to be to give her a rematch against Asuka. She was starting to doubt her wisdom and the decisions that came with it. She said over the holidays, she wondered what it really meant to be the man. She wondered if she should be happy with what she's accomplished thus far and listen to those in the back who are just looking out for her and avoiding the one woman that she can't beat. She then cut to a video showing Asuka beating her last year at the Royal Rumble, then a few weeks ago on Raw and at TLC. Asuka would then interrupt before Lynch could continue. Asuka spoke mostly in Japanese as she pranced down to the ring. She got in Lynch's face, and then Lynch suddenly just hit her with a right hand and dropped her. Lynch left the ring. Asuka rolled around till she got to her feet, yelled at Lynch, and then Lynch smiled. Kind of a nothing segment to me, to be completely honest. Jerry Lopez with a super chat donation. He says, "Hey Tim, why doesn't Lesnar defend his champ at Royal Rumble?" So what I was told is this year for the road to WrestleMania, the reason WWE hasn't really got a plan in place and we haven't heard many rumors is because they're contemplating the ideas of doing things differently that we haven't seen before or haven't seen in a long time. And one of those things that's different is putting the champ in the Royal Rumble. So it's just that WWE wants to do something different. Kristen, I know, Asuka has a YouTube channel where she does a lot of Japanese things and plays video games. I know. That has nothing to do with anything that happened on Raw tonight. Just saying. So backstage, Mojo Rawley approaches Eric Rowan, politely says, "Can I take a look and see what's inside your cage?" And Rowan goes, "Sure, as long as you don't tell anybody what you see." And Rawley looks in, barely peeks in, and he flips the hell out. He just completely freaks out. Like, whoa, what, huh? Yeah, I don't know. Fell back into some boxes and asked Rowan what the hell was wrong with him. Rowan just smiled and left. I have no clue what this damn thing can be. So Sarah Shriver interviews Andrade and asked if he thought he went too far tonight, pulling the mask off of Mysterio. As he spoke, Mysterio would run in, not wearing his mask. Very, very well-positioned cameras and placement from everybody here, and he wildly attacked Andrade. Zelina Vega was yelling the whole time, "Ray, please stop. Ray, stop. Stop. Ray, don't do this." Mysterio eventually would retrieve his mask as he was pulled off of Andrade, put the mask back on before continuing more attacks, and then he was pulled away. I thought this was done really well. I thought it was cool that Ray doesn't even care that he doesn't have his mask. He just wants to get it at Andrade. But the way everything was positioned, you still didn't see Ray's face. I mean, we know what Ray looks like by now. We've seen Ray without a mask. And I just thought this was done really well. Zelina Vega yelling at Ray to stop or pleading with him was good as well. And this just further builds that we're going to get more Andrade Rey Mysterio. And I'm not crying about it. I think these two work perfectly together. So Eric Rowan has a match with the jobbers like KJ something, I think his name was. Oh, KJ Orso, I think I got. Yeah, I wrote down KJ Orso. And the match goes about 21 seconds. Rowan won with a claw slam. After the match, Rowan shoved the jobber's face into the side of the cage to let him peek inside. The jobber came up with a red substance on his face, and he ran to the back screaming. Now, Kristen, you say gremlins. I've seen gremlins, and I don't remember them spitting out any red substances. Could be wrong. Been a long time since I've seen it. So we got AJ Styles coming out to take on Akira Tozawa in a 2.5-minute match. So Styles had it won in about 40 seconds with a phenomenal forearm, but then he lifted Tozawa up at 2. He set it for the Styles Clash, but instead did a draping DDT to send a message to Orton. To further send a message to Orton, he then did the RKO. Hits the RKO on Tozawa and pins him for the victory. Styles posed like Orton afterwards, and I thought this was cool. Orton basically humiliated AJ last week. He made AJ look like a fool. So this week, AJ's going to taunt Orton by acting like Orton. I thought it was cool. Could have done it with the jobber and not Tozawa, but that's a different story. As Styles left, a fan appeared to jump in the ring. The guy was wearing a suit, and actually, It wasn't a fan. Security actually jumped in to stop him. They tackled him, actually. So what happened here was, as AJ was leaving, a random guy, I think he came in through around the timekeeper's area from through the crowd, and he gets into the ring. Well, security thinks it's a fan and they attack him. It's not a fan. It's actually the minister for the Bobby Lashley Lana segment. Security, they weren't told ahead of time who this guy was, and so they thought just some random guy was jumping into the ring. It was unfortunate that it happened. I mean, mistakes happen. Hopefully the guy doesn't... I mean, the guy was professional and did the whole segment and got out of there as soon as he wasn't needed anymore, but hopefully the guy doesn't, press charges or something saying, oh, you guys attacked me when I wasn't supposed to be attacked, or this happened, blah, blah, blah. So we'll see if anything comes of it, but I think everything should be all good. So Lana and Lashley come out. The wedding officiant, or the pastor, whatever you want to call him, was already in the ring, as we stated. Vic Joseph said that the guy tried to get in the ring before the break. Lana said that people didn't want them to get married last week, but they were getting married right now instead. The wedding officiant said the emergency powers was vested on him by the great state of Oklahoma and pronounced them husband and wife. They kissed. Lana kicked him out of the ring. She called him boring and said, I spent too much money on you to be so boring. Lana then said that she would be happy. Or she should be happy, I mean. But she's not. She's actually sad. She went on to state that it wasn't her fault or Bobby's fault. It was the fault of everyone who didn't want to see this ring on her finger. Lana ranted about people being jealous of her and Lashley. She called Rusev the worst among them. Rusev appeared on the Tron. Kind of a bad green screen job. Supposed to be on a beach, but the lighting wasn't exactly perfect. Anyways, he congratulated Mr. and Miss Bob. He suggested they get a joint bank account. He had one with Lana before, and she cleaned it out. He said that they weren't talking about taking a honeymoon, so he's going to take a honeymoon, and now he's on the beach. He said he had a gift, which was a series of clips from all the bad stuff that happened during the last week's wedding. The crowd chanted Rusev Day. I almost fell asleep. This was so boring. Lana screamed about how much she hated Rusev. Lashley said, shut up, and Lana abruptly stopped. Lashley said Rusev used to be a man, but his ex-wife stripped him of his manhood. Lashley told Rusev to show up next week so he could rip off his balls and shove them down his throat. So next week we're getting another Lashley-Rusev match. Oh, boy, howdy, I'm so excited. Nah. Rusev said he would get there as fast as he could. Bulgarian Brute will be on Raw next week, he said. He said he would do unspoken things to Bob Lashley. Cool. Whatever. I'm not... This ain't something that's going to draw me in. Charlie Caruso interviewed R-Truth, who set the record for most championship wins in WWE history. But they were interrupted by Liv Morgan. She congratulated Truth on his record and then said Rusev would need someone in his corner next week. And she said, and that is a moment I'd live for. So it looks like Liv will be in Rusev's corner next week. Kind of random the way they did this, but whatever. Next up, we had Charlotte Flair versus Sarah Logan. Match didn't happen. Well, we were supposed to get Sarah Logan versus Charlotte Flair. Match didn't happen. Logan attacked Charlotte before the match could start. Logan drove Charlotte into the post and hit a running knee. Charlotte momentarily fought back in the crowd, but Logan tossed her into the post again as the referee finally stopped her. Logan grabbed Charlotte's robe and slammed it against the mat before throwing it outside. Logan went after Charlotte, but she gave Logan a spear. Charlotte tossed her into the barricade, into the side of the ring, then suplexed her onto the barricade. Charlotte was about to send her into the ring post, but Logan drove her into the post for a third time. Charlotte booted Logan, then commanded the ref to grab her robe. Charlotte put her on her robe, they played her music, and she left. What the fuck was this? I don't know what this was supposed to be. What is this building to? We know Charlotte's in the Rumble, but what is this building to? I was so flabbergasted on what I was watching here. I'm like, okay, Sarah Logan tries to just destroy Charlotte, and then Charlotte just gets the better of her in the end. Why couldn't we just have a match where Sarah Logan gets a little offense and then Charlotte beats her? This attack and all this rubbish, it was just not needed. Dumb. So then we got Noah Jose versus Drew McIntyre. McIntyre attacked members of the Conga line before and during the match. He led the crowd in a countdown for 3 and then hit a Claymore kick for the victory. After the match, McIntyre tossed Joe over the ropes to the outside onto a group of Conga line members. McIntyre asked the crowd if they dared him to do another Claymore kick. They all cheered and cheered one more time. McIntyre gave Jose another Claymore kick while still holding the mic. McIntyre said that he always hated the Conga line, except for the cheeseburger guy. McIntyre said that he never had an opportunity to fight for the world title, and since everyone was too afraid, he had no choice but to put himself in the Royal Rumble. He said no matter who entered the Rumble, when it was all said and done, there could only be one. So it's hard to tell if McIntyre is a heel or a babyface, because he does things like a babyface, but then when he does the whole, should I attack this guy for no reason again? That's a heel kind of thing to do. But then he involves the crowd and gets the crowd into it. So I don't know what's going on here. We then got Aleister Black versus Shelton Benjamin. Match went about 3 minutes or so. They went back and forth early until Black caught him with a jumping knee strike and then a black mass for the victory. As soon as the match was over, Buddy Murphy would run down and attack Aleister Black. Murphy tossed Black around ringside and nailed a running knee. Murphy then placed a steel chair under Black's chin, told him, I can beat you, Aleister, and then gave him a big, huge knee strike, basically a V-trigger. And Murphy sat cross-legged on the barricade as the officials ran down to check on Black. Not sure why the chair was needed in this spot. Usually when you put the chair up on someone's throat, it's to, smash their throat. I guess it was to hold Black up. But I liked it. I thought it shows that, hey, Murphy, Black, they have great matches. But Black keeps winning, and it's getting to Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy is now making him, all the losses to Black are now making Murphy go crazy. And that's why he attacked Murphy tonight. And we did learn later that they will have a match again next week. Cool. I like their matches. They're great together. But hopefully this time, I don't see it happening, but hopefully Murphy can pick up a victory. So then we go to our main event. 6-man tag. It's Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and The Big Show. That was unexpected. Taking on Seth Rollins in the AOP. So when Rollins was introduced, they said making his way to the ring, the Monday Night Raw Messiah, Seth Rollins. So Big Show came down and got a pretty good reaction from the live crowd. He looked like he was hobbling a little, though. He didn't look like he was walking super smooth and didn't really do a lot in the match. So I kind of question why bring him back, because I'm pretty sure he's wrestling again next week. So Big Show started the match with one of the members of AOP. I still mix them up. Which one's Akam, which one's Razor? They kept trying to say how Big Show looks like he's in the best shape of his life. He looks better than he has before, but he doesn't look as good as the last time we saw him. He started the match off, and like I said, started with one of the AOP guys, and eventually he ran off all the heels, and about a minute into the match, they went to a break. After the break, Joe worked over Rollins before tagging in Owens. Owens hit a cannonball for a 2. I think it was Razor, they said on commentary, knocked Owens off the top, allowing his team to take over. The crowd chanted, "We want Big Show." Because like I said, Big Show started the match, but really didn't do much. Owens eventually fought back and hit a jumping enziguri for all things. Show then distracted Razor, and Owens gave him a super kick and a clothesline. Show made the hot tag and knocked down Rollins, and then gave him a running shoulder tackle. AOP drove Joe into the steps before saving Rollins from a chokeslam. Show grabbed both AOP members by the throat, and then Rollins nailed Show with the chair to cause a disqualification. Rollins then set up Show for a curb stomp, but Owens grabbed him by the leg. Then Big Show knocked him out with a punch, WMD. AOP grabbed Rollins from the ring and took him up the ramp. Owens, Joe, and Show posed as the announcers announced the card for next week as followed. Brock Lesnar will once again be on next week's Monday Night Raw. Aleister Black and Murphy will have a match. Joe, Owens, and here's where I'm confused. The graphic said mystery partner, but Vic Joseph said Big Show will be up against Rollins and AOP in what they're calling the first ever fist fight. And with the way the match ended with Big Show knocking out Seth Rollins, leads me to believe that Show's got to be in this fist fight. He said it's the first in history. Jerry Lawler wondered what the rules of a fist fight would be. And yeah, I'm not sure when anybody agreed to a fist fight, because this match had barely ended and the match was made. So, whatever. Again, it looks like Big Show, but the graphic said mystery partner, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Big Show, because that makes the most sense, and Vic Joseph did say it, so we'll see. But with that, that was Monday Night Raw. I know we do have a couple text messages to read before we do wrap things up. This person here does state, why doesn't Brock defend his championship? We already talked about that. That's not WrestleMania, so I'm not going to answer that on air. Also, I don't know anything about the San Jose area, as I don't live near there. This person says, so is Edge wrestling at Royal Rumble? So, one would assume, according to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, Edge has actually been backstage for the last couple of Raws. Well, he didn't say Raws, I digress. He said, Edge has been seen backstage at a number of recent WWE TV tapings. So something's up. And finally, this person says, do you think we're... Oh, well, nope. It won't load. Give me 1 second. I don't think this text message wants to load. Here we go. Do you think we're getting a mixed tag between Rusev, Liv, Bobby Lashley, and Lana? Eventually. I think that's where it all leads to eventually. I mean, probably in 2 weeks if I'm just spitballing. Because Liv's going to be in Rusev's corner next week. So something's got to happen, and then it turns into a mixed tag the week after. But with that, I do want to say thank you. No, hold on. Tevin Austin says, you guys complain about everything. What am I complaining about? I just said that there were things I liked on tonight's show, and there were some things I didn't like on tonight's show. I didn't complain. I maybe said that the Charlotte-Sarah Logan thing was kind of unnecessary for what it was. It could have just been a regular match, but I don't think I was complaining. No, I wasn't complaining. So, I don't know where you're getting that assumption. Maybe we have two different ideas of what complaining actually is, but anyways, I want to say thank you to everybody who did join me here live tonight on YouTube, and everybody who watched later right here on YouTube or listened on podcast services all around the world. Thank you guys for joining me here tonight, and we'll see you next time.